Welcome back to the rarest coins. In today's video, we're diving into the incredible and often misunderstood story of the 1965 Washington quarter. This is one of the most common coins in circulation, and yet there are stories and rumors floating around the internet claiming that one of these quarters has sold for as much as $1.9 million. That's right. Just imagine it. A quarter you might have in your change right now, possibly worth nearly $2 million. So is it true? Could a 1965 quarter actually be worth that much? Or is it just another internet myth meant to get clicks and views? Well, today we're going to get to the bottom of it. We'll explore the true history of the 1965 quarter, what makes certain ones valuable, and what you should look for if you think you might be holding onto something special. And yes, we'll talk about that mysterious $1.9 million claim and whether there's any truth behind it. Let's start with some history. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932, designed to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It quickly became a permanent part of U.S. coinage and was minted every year moving forward, with only a few design changes over the decades. For many years, quarters were made of 90% silver. But everything changed in 1965 due to rising silver prices and a national coin shortage. The United States Mint made a major decision that year. Beginning in 1965, quarters would no longer be made of silver. Instead, they would be struck from a copper-nickel clad composition. This was a historic moment in U.S. coinage and marked the beginning of the so-called clad era. That's why the 1965 Washington quarter is so significant. It was the first year of the new copper-nickel composition. No silver was supposed to be used in regular circulation quarters from that year forward. The Mint even went as far as to not include a mint mark on any 1965 quarters, no matter where they were produced, to prevent hoarding or speculation. But here's where things get interesting. Despite the official transition, rumors have long persisted that a small number of 1,965 quarters were accidentally struck on silver planchets, meaning the blank discs that were meant for 1964 silver quarters might have still been in the machines when the Mint switched over. If true, those coins would be extremely rare and valuable. In fact, several genuine 1965 silver quarters have been confirmed by grading services like PCGS and NGC. These coins were struck on leftover 90% silver planchets by mistake. Only a handful of them exist, and they are worth thousands of dollars depending on their condition. That brings us back to the million-dollar question. What about the claim that one sold for $1.9 million? This story has gone viral in coin-collecting circles and social media posts. Titles like "This 1965 quarter is worth $1.9 million" have racked up millions of views, with people rushing to check their spare change. But let's talk facts. As of now, there is no verified auction record of a 1965 quarter selling for $1.9 million. No listing from Heritage Auctions, no entry from Stack's Bowers, and no confirmation from major grading services shows a 1965 quarter reaching that kind of price. So, does that mean the story is fake? Not exactly. While a $1.9 million sale may not have happened, some high-grade and rare 1965 quarters have sold for impressive amounts. For example, a confirmed 1965 quarter struck on a silver planchet sold for over $7,000 at auction. Another example, graded in mint state and showing near-perfect details, brought in several thousand more. These are real numbers backed by real sales. The $1.9 million figure likely comes from extreme speculation. Someone may have theorized that if a one-of-a-kind silver 1965 quarter were discovered in flawless condition, it could break records. And in theory, that's not entirely impossible. In the world of rare coins, prices can go sky-high when you're dealing with a combination of rarity, condition, and demand. But the key word here is rare. Out of the hundreds of millions of 1965 quarters produced, only a handful are known to have been struck on silver planchets. That's what you want to look for. How do you know if your 1965 quarter might be one of them? Here are some tips. First, check the weight. A normal copper-nickel-clad 1965 quarter weighs about 5.67 grams. A silver quarter, on the other hand, weighs around 6.25 grams. That small difference can be detected using a jewelry scale or digital coin scale. If your 1965 quarter weighs closer to 6.25 grams, that's your first clue. Second, look at the edge of the coin. Clad quarters have a distinct copper-colored stripe around the edge. A silver quarter will not have this copper layer. Instead, It will appear completely silver all the way around. Third, check the sound. Silver coins produce a higher-pitched, bell-like ring when dropped on a hard surface. Clad coins have a duller sound. This is not foolproof, but collectors often use the ring test as a quick check. And finally, if you think you have something unusual, don't guess. Submit your coin to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. They have the tools and experience to authenticate your coin and determine whether it's the real deal. So, to bring it all together, is a 1965 quarter worth $1.9 million? Most likely, no. The vast majority are still only worth 25 cents. But a small number struck on silver planchets are worth thousands. And if a new, previously undiscovered mint error were found in perfect condition, authenticated by experts, it could potentially reach record-breaking value. That's what makes coin collecting so exciting. Every coin has a story, and sometimes that story is worth a whole lot more than you might expect. So before you toss that change into the tip jar or coin machine, take a second look. You never know what might be hiding in plain sight. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of rare coins, coin values, and collecting secrets. Got a 1965 quarter of your own? Let us know in the comments. Until next time, happy collecting and keep your eyes open. The next big discovery could be in your pocket. Let me know if you'd like this turned into a short version for Instagram or TikTok, or if you want ideas for a matching thumbnail and title that will grab views. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Rarest coins today, we're diving into one of the most talked about coins in recent years, the 1986 P. Washington quarter. It's a coin that millions of Americans have handled in everyday change, but believe it or not, some collectors claim that one version of this coin has sold or been valued at an incredible $1.3 million. That's right, $1.3 million for a single quarter. Now that's a big claim, and we're going to break it all down. We'll look at the real history of the 1986 P. Washington quarter, explore what makes certain coins rare or valuable, and talk about what you need to look for if you want to know whether you have a valuable one sitting in your pocket, a drawer, or maybe even an old coin jar. Let's get started with the history. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design we see on the obverse, that's the front of the coin, was created by sculptor John Flanagan, and it featured a left-facing portrait of Washington. It was originally intended as a one-year commemorative issue, but the public liked it so much that it became the standard design. Fast forward to 1986. By then, the Washington quarter had become a permanent part of American coinage. That year, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 550 million Washington quarters. That's right, over 500 million coins. So on the surface, there's nothing particularly rare about a 1986 P quarter. In fact, because so many were made, most of them are only worth face value, especially if they've been circulated. But here's where it gets interesting. Even though most of these coins are common, there are always exceptions. Rare errors, unusual variations, and high-grade uncirculated coins can all be worth significantly more. And in the case of the 1986 P. Washington quarter, certain examples have drawn serious attention from collectors. Some coins in pristine condition, graded MS67 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction. But that still doesn't explain the $1.3 million claim, right? Let's talk about that. The story of the $1.3 million 1986 P quarter started circulating online in recent years, often through social media posts or flashy videos with titles like "You could have this coin worth over $1 million." These videos tend to show regular quarters and suggest that if yours has a certain feature, like a doubling error, a specific mint mark, or a rare die variety, it could be worth a fortune. Now, here's the truth. As of now, there is no publicly verified record of a 1986 P. Washington quarter selling for $1.3 million through a reputable auction house like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers. That kind of value would require an extraordinary discovery, something like a unique minting error, a previously unknown variety, or a coin in absolutely flawless condition that's considered one dash of dash a dash kind. So where does the $1 million claim come from? A lot of it stems from speculation and hype. It's possible someone claimed their coin was valued at $1.3 million based on a theoretical combination of rarity and condition, or maybe even as a clickbait marketing strategy. And while it's fun to imagine, collectors and serious investors rely on hard evidence from sales records, grading reports, and expert evaluations, not viral videos. That said, there are still 1986 P quarters that are worth good money, especially if they're in excellent condition. If you have a 1986 P quarter, here's what to look for. First, check the condition. A coin that has never been used in circulation, called a mint state coin, will have no wear and will look brand new. Coins graded MS65 and above can be worth significantly more than face value. The higher the grade, the more valuable it becomes, especially if it's certified by PCGS or NGC. Second, look for errors. Some rare varieties can include double dies, off-center strikes, and coins struck on the wrong metal planchet. These kinds of errors are extremely rare but can command huge prices depending on their uniqueness and eye appeal. Third, watch for collector interest. Sometimes a coin becomes valuable simply because it gains popularity in the collector community. A unique error coin with a good backstory or media attention can skyrocket in value. So, is the 1986 P Washington quarter worth $1.3 million? In most cases, no. The vast majority are worth only 25 cents. But a rare error, an uncirculated gem, or a coin in near-perfect condition could be worth much more, possibly hundreds or even thousands of dollars. So the next time you're going through your pocket change or cleaning out an old coin collection, don't just glance over that 1986 quarter. Take a closer look. You never know what you might find. And while the million-dollar story may be more myth than fact, there's still real money to be made if you know what to look for. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more coin facts, hidden treasures, and collecting tips. And if you've got a rare coin story of your own, let us know in the comments below. You might just be sitting on a hidden gem. See you in the next video. Would you like this formatted for teleprompter use or turned into a short-form video script as well? Welcome back to the Rarest Coins. Today, we're diving into the mystery and value behind a coin you probably see every day without a second thought, the 1990 D Washington quarter. But this is no ordinary pocket change. Believe it or not, one rare version of this coin reportedly sold for a staggering $1.1 million. That's right, a 25-cent piece with a hidden story and a fortune behind it. So what makes the 1990 D quarter so special? Why would anyone pay over $1 million for it? And could one be sitting in your collection, or even in your loose change right now? Let's rewind the clock and explore the full story behind this remarkable coin. The Washington quarter has been in circulation since 1932. It was originally introduced to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, and it quickly became a permanent part of United States coinage. Designed by John Flanagan, the original portrait of Washington on the obverse remained unchanged for decades. The reverse, during this era, still featured the iconic eagle perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches below, a strong, classic image of peace through strength. Now, the 1990 D Washington quarter was minted in Denver, as indicated by the small letter D located on the obverse side of the coin. That year, over 927 million quarters were struck at the Denver Mint. So at first glance, this sounds like one of the most common coins ever made. And you'd be right for most of them. But hidden within that massive batch are rare errors, unusual die varieties, and one exceptionally rare coin that has stunned the collecting world. Let's talk about the million-dollar coin. According to various sources and collector circles, a unique 1990 D quarter reportedly sold through a private auction for an unbelievable $1.1 million. Now, this wasn't just a regular coin. It had a combination of ultra-rare mint errors that transformed it from a 25-cent piece into one of the most valuable modern coins ever discovered. So what exactly was wrong, or rather, right, with this coin? First, it was struck on a planchet meant for another denomination, most likely a silver planchet that had no business being used in 1990. This would have resulted in a coin that looked and felt different from a normal clad quarter. Imagine a 1990 D quarter ringing like silver and weighing just slightly off from standard specs. Second, it displayed an extremely rare and dramatic double die obverse. This means the design elements on the front of the coin were misaligned during production, leading to a doubling of letters like Liberty and I In God We Trust. These kinds of errors are incredibly rare in modern coinage, especially with this level of clarity. Third, and this is important, the coin was in nearly perfect condition. It was professionally graded by a top-tier grading service like PCGS or NGC and received a grade in the MS67 or higher range. That kind of preservation, combined with its mint error status, placed it in a league of its own. When you add all these factors together, wrong planchet, dramatic doubling, pristine condition, you get a coin that is not just rare, but possibly unique. One of one. And that's what drives a coin to a seven-figure sale price. But let's talk realistically. What are your chances of finding a 1990 D quarter worth more than face value? For most 1990 D quarters in circulated condition, the value is still about 25 cents. Maybe a little more to someone filling a hole in a coin album. But if you find one in uncirculated or mint condition, especially graded MS65 or above, it could be worth a few dollars, sometimes $10 to $25. However, if you come across one with a visible error, something that stands out, that's when it gets interesting. Here are a few key things to look for. Check the edges. A quarter struck on the wrong planchet may have a smooth edge or look thinner than usual. Use a magnifier and inspect the lettering. Doubling of the letters on the obverse side is a big red flag and potentially a huge payday. Weigh the coin. A standard 1990 D quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. If yours weighs significantly more or less, it could be on a wrong planchet. And of course, condition matters. Coins in mint state, especially those untouched by circulation, can be worth significantly more even without errors. Now here's a tip that many collectors miss. Sometimes these rare error coins make it into circulation and go unnoticed for years. People assume they're just damaged or unusual-looking coins and spin them without a second thought. That's why coin roll hunting and checking your change is still worth doing today. But be careful. Not every odd-looking coin is a mint error. Damage after the coin leaves the mint, called post-mint damage, doesn't add value. In fact, it usually lowers it. That's why expert verification is key. If you think you've found something rare or unusual, the next step is to send it to a professional grading service. PCGS and NGC are the most trusted in the world. They'll authenticate your coin, check for errors, and assign it an official grade that determines its market value. So, to wrap it all up, yes, a 1990 D Washington quarter has reportedly sold for over $1.1 million, thanks to a combination of extreme mint errors, perfect condition, and collector demand. While that specific coin is likely one of a kind, there are still valuable 1990 D quarters out there, and smart collectors are always hunting for them. If you've got a coin jar at home or a collection passed down from family, it might be time to take a second look. Who knows what treasures could be hiding right under your nose? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more rare coin discoveries, and leave a comment below if you've ever found something valuable in your spare change. Until next time, keep your eyes open and happy collecting. Let me know if you'd like a short version, visual cues for editors, or if you want me to help create a thumbnail title and description for the video. Have you ever checked your pocket change and wondered if one of those quarters could be worth a fortune? Well, you might want to take a closer look, because one specific 1988 D Washington quarter reportedly sold for an astonishing $1.2 million. That's right, $1.25 short of $1.25 million, all for a coin that most people overlook. But how is that even possible? What makes this 1988 D quarter so special? And could you be holding one of these hidden treasures right now? Let's dig deep into the story, the history, and the unbelievable value behind this ordinary-looking coin with an extraordinary secret. First, let's start with a little background. The Washington quarter has been a mainstay in American currency since 1932. It was originally issued to celebrate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The obverse features a bust of Washington, designed by John Flanagan, and it stayed relatively unchanged for decades, until the state quarters program began in 1999 to now. The 1988 Washington quarter falls in that classic design era. And if you look at the mint mark, D stands for the Denver Mint, where millions, yes, millions, of these quarters were produced that year. Over 596 million, to be exact. So that raises a very important question. How could a coin with a mintage that high be worth over $1 million? The answer lies in something coin collectors call a mint error, and in this case, a very rare and dramatic one. That the coin that sold for $1.2 million wasn't just a regular quarter. It had a combination of factors that made it one of a kind. First, it featured an off-center strike, where the coin blank wasn't properly aligned during the minting process. Second, it showed what's called a double die obverse, meaning the design elements, like the words "In God We Trust" and "Liberty," appear slightly duplicated or shadowed due to a misalignment of the die itself. And third, it was struck on a planchet meant for another denomination, possibly a nickel or even a foreign coin. Put all of that together, and you have a modern U.S. quarter with multiple, dramatic mint errors, all preserved in near-perfect condition. But that's what collectors and numismatists dream about. Not just a rare coin, but a coin that's truly unique. One of one. Add in high grading from a top-tier grading company like PCGS or NGC. And now you have something that can fetch mind-blowing numbers at auction.so. Where did the $1.2 million sale happen? According to various reports circulating in the coin collecting community and numismatic forums, the coin was privately sold through a high-end collector network. These kinds of transactions often don't happen in public auctions. Instead, they take place behind closed doors, through dealers who work with wealthy collectors looking for the rarest items in existence. Now, before you get too excited and start digging through your coin jar, let me be very clear. Most 1988 D Washington quarters are only worth face value. Maybe 25 to 50 cents if they're in circulated condition. If you find one in uncirculated or mint condition, especially one graded MS65 or higher, it might be worth a few bucks, maybe $5 to $20 to a collector, but the chances of finding a coin with the same error combination as the $1.2 million piece are astronomically low. Still, it's not impossible. That's the beauty of coin collecting. Every once in a while, someone finds something that the mint never intended to release. A true error that slipped through the cracks. And there's something else worth noting here. The 1980s and early 90s were a time when mint quality control wasn't quite as tight as it is today. Several rare errors from that period have surfaced over the years. Wrong planchets, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and double dies. So while a $1 million coin is rare, valuable errors from this era are not unheard of. In fact, some 1988 D quarters with minor off-center strikes or slight double die features have sold for hundreds, sometimes even thousands of dollars, depending on condition and visibility. So what should you be looking for? Here are the key things to check. 1. Mint mark. Look for the D under the motto, "In God We Trust," on the obverse. That tells you it was minted in Denver. Point 2. Off-center strike. Is the image slightly shifted or cut off on one side? That could be an error. Point 3. Double die. Use a magnifying glass. Are the letters doubled? Especially Liberty and In God We Trust. 4. Wrong planchet. Does the coin feel lighter or heavier than usual? Does it sound different when dropped? 5. Grading condition. The higher the grade, the higher the value. Coins graded MS65 or above are where serious value starts to kick in. And finally, get it authenticated. If you think you've got something unusual, don't just guess. Send it to a certified coin grading company. PCGS and NGC are the top choices. They'll verify what you have and give it a grade that determines market value. Because who knows? Maybe, just maybe, that old quarter you've had sitting in a drawer for 30 years is actually a 6 or 7-figure treasure. So keep your eyes open, keep your coins safe, and remember, sometimes it pays to look at the little things. Thanks for watching. If you found this video interesting, hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives into rare coins and collectibles, and let me know in the comments if you've ever found a valuable coin in your change. You never know what's still out there. Let me know if you want a version with subtitles, images, or visuals matched to segments of the script. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are uncovering the surprising story behind a coin that most people have probably overlooked at least 100 times in their life. I'm talking about the 1980 P. Washington quarter. This coin is part of everyday pocket change, yet there are rumors and headlines out there claiming that one of these coins might actually be worth up to $1.4 million. That's right, $1.4 million for a single quarter. Is it really true? Could one of these coins be sitting in your house right now? And how could a coin made in the millions be worth more than a luxury home? Today, we're going to break it all down. We'll dive into the history of the 1980 P. Washington quarter, what makes it special or rare, and the real facts behind this million-dollar claim. Let's start with the basics. The Washington quarter has been a part of American coinage since 1932. It was originally designed by John Flanagan and was released to celebrate the 200th birthday of George Washington. The coin was so popular that it became a permanent fixture in U.S. currency. By 1980, the Washington quarter had been around for nearly 50 years. That year, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 635 million quarters with the P Mint mark. So when you hear that number, over 600 million, it's easy to think these coins are too common to be valuable. And in most cases, that's true. Most 1980 P quarters are still only worth face value, 25 cents. But as with all coins, there are always exceptions. Coins can become valuable for a few key reasons. It could be because of a rare minting error, an unusual variation, or an extremely high-grade example in perfect condition. And this is where things start to get interesting for the 1980 P Washington quarter. Some collectors and online sources have claimed that a specific 1980 P quarter is worth as much as $1.4 million. That's the kind of number that makes headlines, goes viral on social media, and sparks curiosity across the internet. But is it real? Is there any truth to it? Let's be honest and dig into the facts. There has been no verified public auction record of a 1980 P quarter selling for $1.4 million. That kind of price would only be possible if the coin had something truly extraordinary about it, something like a one-of-a-kind error, an undiscovered variety, or a flawless condition never seen before. In the world of numismatics, that kind of rarity is almost mythical. So where does the million-dollar figure come from? It most likely started as a combination of hype, speculation, and viral content. A few coin-related websites or videos may have suggested that a perfect condition quarter or a mystery error coin could fetch a massive price, and from there, the story took on a life of its own. Before long, people were sharing headlines about a 1980 quarter worth over $1 million, even though no such confirmed sale had taken place. That being said, there are still real reasons to take a second look at your 1980 P quarters. Let's talk about condition. If a 1980 P quarter is found in mint state condition, which means it was never circulated and has no signs of wear, it could be worth much more than face value. Coins that grade MS65 or higher are especially valuable to collectors. For example, an MS67 graded 1980 P quarter has been known to sell for several $100s at auction, and that's for a coin that looks ordinary at first glance. Now, let's talk about mint errors. Error coins are one of the hottest segments of coin collecting. These are coins that left the mint with mistakes. Maybe they were double struck, off-center, or even struck on the wrong metal planchet. These errors are rare, and the more dramatic or unusual they are, the more valuable the coin becomes. In rare cases, error quarters from this era have sold for thousands of dollars. For example, a quarter struck on a foreign coin planchet or with major doubling could attract serious bids from collectors. If a 1980 P quarter with a never-before-seen or spectacular mint error was discovered, it could theoretically be worth tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands, and that might be where the idea of a million-dollar coin started. Another factor is historical interest. The 1980s was a transitional time in American coinage. The mint had just begun to include the P Mint mark on quarters starting in 1980, making it the first year Philadelphia-marked quarters were officially released into circulation. That makes the 1980 P quarter historically significant. While that doesn't automatically make them rare, it adds a layer of collector interest. So, is your 1980 P quarter worth $1.4 million? Probably not. But that doesn't mean it's worthless either. If your coin is in exceptional condition or has a striking error, it could be worth far more than just 25 cents. It might even fetch a few hundred or a few $1,000s depending on its condition and features. Here's what to look for first. Examine the coin under good lighting. Check for doubling, off-center designs, or strange anomalies in the lettering or numbers. These could be signs of a valuable error. Second, check the condition. If the coin is uncirculated or in near-perfect shape, it might be worth submitting to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC for evaluation. Third, do your homework. Look at recent auction prices for coins from the same year and mint. That will give you a realistic idea of what your coin could be worth. And finally, be wary of exaggerated claims. A lot of online content is designed to get attention rather than provide accurate information. Always verify through trusted numismatic sources and auction records. To wrap things up, the 1980 P Washington quarter is a common coin, but that doesn't mean it has no value. A rare error or a high-grade version could turn an ordinary coin into a valuable collectible. And while there's no confirmed proof of a $1.4 million sale, the excitement and mystery around coins like this remind us that hidden treasures are still out there. So the next time you get change at the store or go through an old coin jar, take a closer look. You never know what you might find. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful or interesting, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more coin stories, value guides, and collecting tips. Drop a comment below if you found any rare quarters or have a coin story to share. Until next time, happy collecting and keep searching. Your next big find might be right in your pocket. Let me know if you'd like this turned into a video outline, transcript with timestamps, or broken up for use in social media posts. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into the world of modern coin collecting to talk about a coin that has gotten a lot of attention lately. It's the 1995 D Washington quarter. Now at first glance, it looks like just another regular quarter that you might pull out of your pocket without a second thought. But there are stories going around claiming that one of these coins is actually worth a staggering $1.5 million. That's right. $1.25 worth of metal, supposedly valued at $1.5 million. Sounds crazy, doesn't it? So today we're going to break it all down. We're going to talk about the history of the Washington quarter, take a close look at the 1995 D version, and separate the facts from the fiction. Because while most of these coins are only worth 25 cents, there are exceptions, and if you know what to look for, you might just find something valuable hiding in your change jar. Let's start with a little background. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932. It was designed to honor George Washington's 200th birthday, and the design featured a portrait of Washington based on a sculpture by Jean-Antoine Hedon. The coin was originally only meant to be a one-year commemorative issue, but it was so well received that it became a permanent part of United States coinage. By 1995. The Washington quarter had already been in production for more than 6 decades. That year, the Denver Mint produced over 1 billion Washington quarters. More specifically, more than 1.1 billion 1995 D quarters were struck and released into circulation. So the first thing to know is this: these coins are not rare in the traditional sense. They were mass-produced, and most of them are still circulating today. But even with over a billion made, some 1995 D quarters have been catching serious attention, especially those rumored to have sold, or at least been valued, at over $1.5 million. So let's talk about that claim. Where did the idea of a $1.5 million 1995 D quarter come from? Most likely, it started from online articles and viral videos that blend fact with speculation. They often show pictures of regular-looking coins and suggest that you could be holding a fortune without even knowing it. These posts tend to go viral fast because they play on that exciting idea that a forgotten coin in your kitchen drawer could turn out to be a life-changing discovery. Now here's the truth. As of today, there is no officially documented sale of a 1995 D Washington quarter for $1.5 million. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers, which handle the most valuable and rare coins in the world, have not listed any verified sales of a 1995 D quarter even close to that amount. So is it a hoax? Not exactly. While that specific price tag is most likely exaggerated, there are legitimate reasons why certain 1995 D quarters could be worth significantly more than face value. And that's where things get interesting. Let's start with condition. A large portion of coin value comes down to grade. Coins that are in near-perfect condition, known as mint state, can sell for much more than their circulated counterparts. A 1995 D quarter graded MS67 or higher by a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC can sell for hundreds or even over $1,000 at auction, depending on the market and demand. And remember, those coins are extremely rare. Out of over a billion made, only a handful will be preserved in that kind of pristine, untouched condition. Next up is rarity due to mint errors. Error coins are coins that were misstruck during the minting process. These can include things like double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or coins struck on the wrong metal. In some cases, these kinds of mint errors can make a coin dramatically more valuable. For example, if a 1995 D quarter was struck on a nickel planchet or featured a bold double die on the obverse, it could easily bring in thousands, maybe even tens of thousands, from the right buyer. Now imagine if a one-of-a-kind mint error were to surface. Something so rare that no other example had ever been found. That is the kind of situation where extreme values start to make sense. In theory, if a collector or investor believed a certain coin to be completely unique, they might be willing to pay an outrageous price just to own it. That's how coins sometimes reach million-dollar status, not because of the metal, not even because of the age, but because of rarity, condition, and collector demand. So while there is no hard evidence that a 1995 D quarter sold for $1.5 million, it is entirely possible that an extremely rare variety could reach a high five or even six-figure value if the right circumstances lined up. It would need to be something never seen before, fully authenticated, and in perfect condition. So what should you look for if you want to check your own 1995 D quarters? Start with condition. If your coin looks like it's in mint state, no scratches, no wear, sharp detail and luster, it might be worth submitting to a grading service. Next, look for errors. Doubling in the letters or numbers, off-center designs, missing elements, or unusual coloration could be clues. Use a magnifying glass or a loupe and compare your coin to known examples online. And finally, stay realistic. Not every coin is going to be worth thousands or millions, but that doesn't mean collecting can't be exciting and even profitable. There are people out there who've turned coin hunting into a real hobby, and some have made serious money from rare finds. To wrap it up, the 1995 D Washington quarter is one of the most common coins from the 1990s. But that doesn't mean it's worthless. While most are still only worth 25 cents, a small number with rare mint errors or perfect condition can be worth much more. And while there's no verified $1.5 million sale, the buzz around coins like this just shows how much mystery and excitement still exists in the world of numismatics. So next time you get change from the store or dig through an old coin jar, don't ignore those quarters. Check the date. Look at the mint mark. You might be holding something valuable without even knowing it. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more videos on rare coins, collectible finds, and hidden treasures. Got a coin story of your own? Drop it in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, happy collecting and keep hunting. You never know what's waiting for you in your pocket change. Let me know if you'd like this adapted into a shorter version for TikTok, a thumbnail text idea, or turned into a full video outline with visuals and scenes.